locked in time.
No play, no ash.
Hey up Woodlanders, welcome to this week's woodlog. It's super cold today and I'm just in the process of defrosting my hands and the timber. I've got to turn into some frames for our Hazel hurdle panels, so we will rip this down into fingers. With our cutting list sorted and a little template I made last year, once I know what the top dimension is and what the side dimensions are, then the bottom dimensions and the mid-rail dimensions all are done with the template. I feel like I've had a couple of really kind of fragmented weeks where I've not really felt like I've got on with one particular thing. So I've been doing a couple of days of high pruning at someone's property, that was last week, and then they wanted me back this week, so I've done 2 more days of high pruning in somebody's woodland, which ordinarily I wouldn't do, but I did because it's just some cash flow and turnover. Now I'm onto these hazel hurdles, which meant I've had to stop the coppice over at Rosseston to get these hurdles done, and then I'll be back on the coppice again at Rosseston, and then once I've done that coppice I'll be back on our own coppice to finish that off as well. The high pruning job got me thinking. Ordinarily high pruning, you'd only really normally select the best trees, the straightest stems and the most vigorous as high pruners to create a really good timber crop in let's say 50 to 100 years. Got a lot of noise going on today, apologies for that. But because he's worried about all the potentials for damage and disease over the years, that you select your best tree and you prune it, and then something happens to it. So all you're left with is all the trees that you didn't actually prune when you could have done. So his mission was to try and prune everything that could be a tree, really. And very intensive, incredibly physical, high pruning with basically a petrol strimmer with a chainsaw on the end, full reach, so you crick your neck, heavy on the shoulders, and very physical and non-stop really, just on it all day. And I was with a team of others, so we had different tools and we just would swap around those, but it got on alright, and it didn't rain, so that was all the bonus. And then at the weekend, I mentioned last week's woodlog that I had something, my hip was hurting me. Well anyway, it developed on Saturday to the point where I couldn't even walk. It felt like I'd snapped my hip knuckle or something. It was ridiculous pain. But thankfully there's a friend of ours called Patricia. She does this treatment called Bowen and Emmet or something. Anyway, Sunday I got up like, wow, that made a big difference. I was almost pain-free. Surprisingly, it hasn't flared up nowhere near like it was before. This is some water that's frozen and it's got air bubbles in it, but they're sort of locked in time. It looks absolutely fascinating. Anyway, I think you're up to speed now with all of what's gone on. So we'll cross-cut these, we'll get them assembled and we'll get them shipped off up the woodland, and then I can meet you up there for some hurdle weaving. That's finished the fence panels off. I've got to take them up the woods and weave them next. I think what we'll do here is have a good sweep up, put my tools away and go and have a nice hot drink. There's nothing like being desperate for the toilet to make you work faster. currently -7, -9 or -10 here overnight. And even though I put a cover on the outside, which is no frost on the outside, we've got frost on the inside. Well, it's too cold to weave hazel hurdles today anyway, currently -5. So we'll get these unloaded. I've got to stock up with firewood again for home because we are getting through firewood like 1 o'clock just lately. It's just so cold. And then I've got chance for some IBC cages again for firewood storage. So I think I'm going to just nip off while I've got an empty trailer and go and pick those up. I think I can only fit 2 in at a time though, and I might have a chance for 3. It's got nipped down the bottom end. It's a long time ago I planted some curly willow. And there's a lady who's doing a bit of a craft project for her granddaughter. She wants a bit of curly willow. The wind that we had a northwest wind about 3 weeks ago now, which was pretty strong, and we've had some storm damage. There's another larch down there. Did you see the state of that reversing? That was embarrassing. Good morning anyway. It's a frosty start again this morning, but it's a stunning day, beautiful weather. But because of the frost, I'm like, well, I can't weave the hazel still because the rods are still too frozen. So I thought, right, we'll have an infrastructure day. I think I mentioned on one of the woodlogs recently about doing the Woodshaw programme. Anyway, Woodshaw is all about producing firewood and you register. And it means then you get it's official that you can sell firewood in small quantities, which is just, it's aggro, but we won't go there. I thought I needed a trailer, so when you think you need something, you start to search, and I found this on Facebook Marketplace, which is a little sort of 1-ton compact tractor style trailer. This little tipper, a giant mobile table with sides. All I've got to do now is try and work out how on earth I'm going to get this off without smashing my fingers and breaking my back. And there we go. I've got to fetch one more IBC that I've paid for, so that's part of this infrastructure log processing jobby. It's Friday. It's frosty, and well, we'll have some more action next week. Hopefully we'll be on those hurdles next week. Little blockage this morning. I'll sort out this. Good morning. It's Monday morning. I'm trying to get myself going. Got to take this IBC off, and then we've got to nip over to Jeff's at Rossliston to pick up some beam poles because we've got some orders to fulfil. It was Storm Aisha last night, so we're just in the fallout of that. It's not going well this morning. I was reversing. I don't know what's happened. But I don't know if my trailer locked up or what, but I think we're going to have to try and get ourselves out of this, aren't we? Thank goodness for four-wheel drive lock. job now, taking all this lot off. I've got 12 beam poles for an order, so I'll do them first, get all this lot off, and then I've got some other little orders I'll tell you about in a minute. I did a video a couple of years ago about how to bundle and tie something tight. The last 6 months it's gone absolutely mad. It's become my most watched video at the moment, which is like, it's got something like 25,000 views or something crazy. Just got to cut a few pieces. Another little order I've got next is some short rods, apparently for whittling for kids or something, so that they can carve and do things with. I mentioned in a previous woodlog the generosity of you guys and paying for a little bit of treatment of Stu, and he was really generous in giving me, with a view to trying to get my back and a little bit of treatment on. So last couple of Saturdays, with my hip bursitis and one thing and another, and a bit of a stiff back and a stiff neck, I've used that little bit of a gift and put it towards getting my body sorted so that I can carry on coppicing. I just wanted to know that I've put the money to good use and not squandered it on a can of beer or something like that. In another month or so this will all get cut right down to the ground and all the stumps will get tidied. It's just a bit of a mess and some bad lessons being taught here. I've seen some people selling sticks like this on Etsy, and it does make me wonder whether I should be doing more of that. It's quite eye-watering, the charges that they want for some sticks. I might cut some out of this lot, see whether they sell. What an idea that could be. So we've got 50 at 60 centimetres, then we've got 10 at 90 centimetres and another 10 at 90 centimetres, which is going to be an Etsy experiment. Next on the job cards is these Hazel hurdles. I've got to try and get all of these woven and finished this week. Morning. I'm frozen. Just got to empty this barrel, charcoal, refill it with timber, and then get the charcoal retort going. When I first did this, I used to put clay in the seal there, but Bo said to me, try it without it. So I thought, well, I'll try that, because the risk is it's not necessarily in the firing process, but it's in the cooling down process. And if air gets in, there's always that risk of, where's my hammer? There's always risk of air getting in and igniting the charcoal and ending up with a barrel full of ash. Only I must have done
Oh, 30 burns like that now. No clay, no ash.
But if you're interested in making charcoal and you've not seen my other videos, there's a really simple method, and I'll put a link in the description and something in this corner up here that will link to that video, how you can make charcoal all for yourself. This is the progress with our panel so far. Get a second one in the bay ready for weaving again, so we can get another one finished today. One down. When I picked up that trailer the other day, I was chatting to the guy who was selling it. His name's Paul, and he was telling me about a local guy to us. He says, do you know Luke? I'm like, not personally, no, but I know of him. And Luke is a forestry contractor in the area. But rather sad news is he took his own life last week. And you think about his family and got a young lad and all that sort of stuff. And I was chatting away with Paul. And it's interesting when you get chatting with people and you just ask a few questions. Turns out he also tried to take his own life a few years ago. The amount of people in this outdoors sector that it would seem are really struggling at the minute. And that's a big concern. There's a chap I watched on YouTube called Ollie Blogs. Ollie's an agricultural farming contractor, and he works out up somewhere near Liverpool, and he's got quite a big channel now. Every day he always talks about answering as a percentage, so rather than talking about and trying to express how you feel, he just says put your mental health as a percentage. 0 is terrible and 100% is you're on top of the world. So I just thought at this point, by all means, I've not done this for a few weeks and I know I'm stealing it from Ollie, and so apologies Ollie for that, but if you want to put your percentage down as you watch this video, or maybe as your percentage has gone this week, by all means do that. I'm doing alright this week. I would say my percentage this week would be about 85-90. What is your percentage this week? And sometimes it's just nice to know that the others in the comments that are also having maybe not as good a week as they planned. I don't think for a minute any of Luke's family will watch this video, but if you are, I'm sorry for your loss. I know you probably can't see a thing, and to be quite honest, neither can I really, but we've managed to get 2 panels done. We've got another one in the jig ready, back tomorrow, and we're back. First little job this morning is to go and plant 3 juniper trees. I got these juniper trees from a tree scheme that's run by the local council, because we're part of the National Forest, to encourage people to think about trees, and they give you away these little saplings. And this year I decided to go for the junipers. They reckon junipers can get to quite a size, which I have very little to no experience with juniper trees, other than just a few cultivated varieties that you get in gardens, which aren't necessarily forestry trees. These are my little juniper trees. Doing alright really.
Say you think about me because I'm starting to doubt we will find a way back to each other when you're on the other side of the world. I'm here and I'm waiting, but I know I can't say that. Didn't end it for good reasons, so I'm hoping you'll meet him soon.
Right, we'll get some shavings.
Everybody needs some time to figure themselves out, but I want you close, and I still have hope. I'm waiting every day for you to come back. And tell me we can work it out,
I just thought I'd explain this panel. This is a 4 foot wide panel, and this creates some logistic issues for me when I'm weaving. So if it's a 5 foot panel, I'd have a central softwood frame and sort of 2 bays with 4 zales in each. These are zales. Whereas a 4 foot panel, if I put a central rail in and did 2 bays, the zales get too close together and you can't physically weave it. The other option is to do a 4 zale one, but then the zales get too far apart and the weave becomes all quite loose. And this is only specific to a 4 foot panel. So last year I did an experiment with 5 zales in a 4 foot panel, and it seems to work really well, but it does create some weaving anomalies where you have to keep kind of pushing it in and out because there's no fast way to weave it. A far nicer, tighter weave, something I'm far happier with. And a new modification for this year is all 5 foot and 6 foot panels have got to have a central rail in the middle. If not, I find that this sides flex too much, and there's always a risk that the weave can just pop out of one of the zales, and I'm not happy with that. I think I'm going to leave it at that for today. It's about 4:45. We'll be back for some more panel weaving action tomorrow. Morning. Beautiful day, stunning bit of sunshine. I forgot to tell you last week when we was doing that pruning, the chap there, Andrew, he had this barn, and that was a timber frame barn that was built many years ago, and he managed to get planning permission for that. It's a stunning building inside, all oak and sweet chestnut, timber framed, and the smell when you go in, you can still smell that oak tannin smell. Oh, I just love that. It'd be lovely to be able to get a timber framed house up here one day. That would be, for me, a dream come true. I really don't think that'd ever happen. If you've got any secret tips on how to get planning in Woodland, let me know. Getting the wrong one. Ready? Come on. Paddle number 4. It's done. Today has gone really well so far. We're on panel number 5. I'm going to leave it there because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 barrels of charcoal to empty. And so that is me done for this week. If you're able to, why not make something from the woods in the woods? And remember, words are silver, but silence is golden.